Good afternoon, ladies and gents. Today I have here with me a good friend, colleague, global author, poet, writer extraordinaire, Tolutuoludo Akinyemi, the Royal Lion of Newcastle. Roar. Yes, so as I mentioned, he's a literal genius. He's here with me today, and we're here to discuss specifically his new book that launched on the 1st of April. In case you can't see it, it's titled Everybody Don Kolomental. Like I said, he's the author, Tolu Akinyemi. So Tolu, it's nice to have you here with me today.
Yeah, back. Really good to be back again for us to discuss books.
Oh yes.
Remember we talked earlier in the year discussing books and everything Booktiful.
Oh yes.
So I think it's really good to be back again to talk about books. Yeah.
Always. That's good. So as I said, we're going to be discussing this book today. In case you're wondering where you can grab a copy, actually, you can get it on his website, tolutoludo.com, or you can get it from the Royal Lion, Newcastle.com, or you can also get it from Amazon as well, and across multiple platforms. Am I correct? Am I saying something out?
Yeah. So you've been right on the money. Yeah.
Yes.
So then Barnes and Noble and other online platforms. Yeah.
Right. So you can also get a soft copy as well, I believe.
Yeah.
On
either electronic copy or
e-copy, or you can get a hard copy.
Amazon, Kindle, Barnes and Noble, Roving Night, Okada Books.
Okay.
No, not Okada Books.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, there you go. So many platforms. So make sure you grab a copy. So this particular book, Tolu, is quite thought-provoking, and it's what we would call in pop culture these days is deep. So can I just ask, I know it says that on the preface here that the book is basically about mental health, basically, and the struggles that people deal with. But can I just ask, first of all, what inspired you, or what made you write about, this issue, which today seems to be becoming more obvious, which was, overlooked in the past, but in this day and age now, it's becoming a thing where, people are speaking more about it, or people are talking about their experiences. So can I just ask, what made you discuss this mental health issues, basically?
Yeah, so I think the inspiration for Everybody Don Kolomental came from a place where, like you mentioned, in this day and age, mental health is something that we need to talk about. It's something that, like, don't die in silence when you are going through issues.
Yes.
It's alright for people to, like, speak out and express themselves, and that's the only way you can find healing.
Yeah.
If you are sick and you don't go to the doctor, then there's no way you're going to get well.
Of course.
So I think the book came from a place of using my artistic talent to shed more light on the issues of mental health.
Okay.
And I think I love the fact that with my writing and creativity, I'm beginning to, like, delve more into this kind of issues. When we talk about Everybody Don't Mental health issues, we talk about Black does not equal inferior, Black
Yes.
Lives Matter.
Yes.
And the new book that I told you about as well, Born in Lockdown, about the coronavirus pandemic. Yeah. So
yes.
I think it's not easy
Yes.
for you to, like, use art as a means of, like, using art to delve into this kind of topics.
Yes.
But when you do it and do it well, then I think it's really good. So I think Everybody Don't Kolomental, it's a book written to, like, give credence to issues that people face, especially when they go through, like, when they have mental health issues.
Yes.
So it came from that place, like, just a body of work that brings the conversation more into the fore.
Yes.
So
yes.
I'm going through issues. I can read a book that is saying, oh, this dark, there's this dark place, but yeah,
there's hope.
There's hope. Hope is not far away.
Yeah, that's correct. That being said, actually, there was a specific poem. I think it's called Let me see if I recall this off the top of my head. No, not suffering and smiling. Is it hope is not far away? That's it. So there's a poem on page 34 titled "Hope is not far away." I'm just going to quickly read it so the viewers can understand what we're talking about. So I think everything about this book is kind of like it's you're trying to say that basically it's not the end of the road, and as you just mentioned not too long ago, that hope is not far away, and that's the actual title of this particular poem. So I'm just going to quickly read this now, word for word. So here goes. Hope is not far away is the title by Tolu Akinyemi, of course. So basically it goes, who will tell Okikiola that tomorrow is pregnant, like a mother hen with unhatched eggs? Who will tell Okikiola that hope is not far away? Its ship docked in the home of Akinyele before his candle was blown out and his flailing dreams were a shipwreck. Who will tell Okikiola this is not the last straw? These winds, gusts would give way for the calming sea. Who will tell Okikiola that this is not the last bus stop? Hope is not far away, and this is not the end. So that was very well, written, interesting play of words, and it also, it gives a message that basically, as self-explanatory, hope is not far away. So can you just as I said, it's self-explanatory, but can you shed some more light onto that specific poem and the exact message that you're trying to give to anyone that picks up this your piece of work right now?
Yeah, so basically, like you rightly mentioned, and the title, hope is not far away. No matter what you're going through, always remember that hope is not far away. This wind gusts would give way for the calming sea. So if you are like facing issues in your day-to-day life, don't give up, don't give in, don't give in to those voices that say, oh no, you are faking it, or it's not happening to you. And voices like we said the last time, voices like Piers Morgan that will say, oh, another chance to have a digger Piers. I'll take it. So basically, don't give in to voices that want to downplay your struggles, to say that your struggles isn't legitimate. So as far as you are alive, then there is hope, and hope indeed is not far away. So I think the collection, even though there are some poems like dark and all of that, the whole idea behind it is that hope is not far away. If you're in a dark place today, don't give up. It's not the end of the world. Struggling, it's not peculiar to just one person. Anyone can struggle, anyone can go through difficult times, but even in that difficulty, it's not the end of the world. Tomorrow is indeed pregnant with hope. So I think that's the underlying theme around, and for that poem as well, no matter what you're going through, at times we worry over like the little things, like what are we going to eat? Oh, I've just lost a job. Where's the next? What's the future? What's it going to look like? But if we, if we look back and we just see that hope is not far away, then we begin to be rest assured, and all the struggles, the anxiety that comes with, that can lead, that will be a propeller to like mental health issues. Then it begins to like simmer down. So basically, ultimately, I would say, anyone watching us, truly, hope is not far away. It's not far away. Keep on believing.
Yeah, fantastic. So basically, in summary, I think the message is quite clear. There's a saying, it's always darkest before the light, but the light is definitely there at the end of the tunnel. So no matter what struggles, no matter what hardship, no matter what situation you might be going through presently, it's never the end of the world basically, and things will always get better. As the poem states, the wind gusts would give way for the calming sea. So the calming sea is that light at the end of the tunnel, which you will get to that calm sea when you overcome, or when you've basically gone through those dark times, the hardship, the sufferings, and then you manage to overcome it. So yeah, basically hope is not far away is the message. So don't give up no matter how hard it is, and yeah, the future is always bright, right?
Preach it, preach it.
Yeah. Right, fantastic. So again, Tolu, this is something I wonder. So for the non Nigerian or West African pidgin English speakers, so like we mentioned, this book is all about, mental health and the struggles, but the specific wording used is everybody Don Kolomental. Now basically you see, this Kolomental is basically a slang in a pidgin that just means everyone's gone pretty much bonkers, everyone's lost their marbles. So are you trying to say that the world is crazy, or what exactly does this mean, everybody Don Kolomental?
Yes, so I think that's a very interesting question. Yeah, so I think the message I'm trying to pass across is that I'm trying to say that everyone struggles, everyone has issues.
Okay.
You are not alone in that rough patch. You are not. It's not peculiar to to me. Like, I'm not the only one that at times people feel like, oh, I'm in a dark place. And
Yeah. Why is it only me?
Why am I the only one? No, it's not just you.
That's true.
Everyone, like, no matter how big you are, how mighty you are, you'll be shocked at like what people go through mentally, So I think the message is just that no matter who you are, you're not alone in that dark place.
Yes.
Everyone, because the way we are configured as humans, we all have emotions, we have feelings, and everyone goes through this circle whereby mentally it's not like being mentally challenged, but just having these issues, anxiety, being nervous, just all these things.
When you tend to second guess yourself, you have a lot of self-doubt, you lose your confidence,
the imposter syndrome, all of these, they are just all part of the human experience. So everybody Don Kolomental means everybody is like, we talked about that. Well, everybody's moving mad, we are all crazy. Everybody is crazy. So that's the title. And one thing that is fascinating is that, even in the marketplace, a lot of people just pick up the title, a lot of white readers and, pick up the title because they understand the message, and, so I think it's just more about the message. Okay. But I love the title for the peculiarity and
yes, as well.
And making no difference, because mental health is a very touchy issue.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's a delicate issue.
It's a delicate issue, yes. So which involves a lot of care, attention, even when writing about it, and
even recognition in the first place.
Yeah. Because a lot of people don't want to look at Africa, for instance.
Oh yes.
Yeah. So if you say you have mental, I wrote a story in Inferno of Silence titled "Everybody Don't Kolomental."
Yes.
And where one of the characters was like, oh, you can't, like in Africa, if you tell someone that you have mental health issues, they say, oh, you need a prayer session.
Yes.
You need to go to Yaba. Yaba left. The home for the most fragile, for the most fragile in our society, back home in Nigeria.
Yes.
So I think what it is that, so even mental health issues is not what people are not bold enough to come out to say, oh, I'm struggling, or I am facing this issue. So for one to be able to document this in the book, then I think it's something like really noble and worthwhile. Yeah. So everybody Don Kolomental is just that everyone has issues that they are dealing with, and we should always take cognizance of that fact and never downplay anyone's story. So if I tell you I'm going through an issue, don't say, oh no, it can't be.
Yes.
It's just telling lies,
Yeah, brush it off.
Yeah, we shouldn't downplay, brush it off.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree. Okay. So guys, there you go. As the content is equally as thought provocative, so is the actual title of the book itself. But there you go, an in-depth explanation of why it's titled "Everybody Don't Kolomental." So, actually, Tolu, touching on a couple points that you mentioned just now, not so long ago, you mentioned that in Africa, for instance, actually, I think this is more of a two-part question. You mentioned that in Africa, these mental health issues are kind of like downplayed and swept under the rug because it's more of they think it's a form of like weakness, or I don't know, there's a stigma to it, which is not right. So that's where the recognition is lacking a lot, especially in like Africa. I'm not saying it's just Africa now, but in comparison to the West over here, it's not something that's even recognized, acknowledged, or even handled properly. So what advice would you give to any African that might be going through this? I know obviously you're not an expert, you're not a psychiatric expert, but obviously you had your reasons which you explained for writing this, and you mentioned it's all about the struggles we go through, and basically hope is not far away. So what advice or tips could you give to any African out there that might be encountering any form of like struggles per se, without getting too technical? Do you have any tips maybe?
Yeah, I would say like speak out.
Yeah.
That's the I think that's the most important thing to do.
Okay.
Like, because most times people just like, you're going through stuff, you're not telling anybody, then the next thing you hear someone has committed suicide.
Yes.
Because so just anywhere, Africa, in the West, anywhere in the world, Asia, wherever you might be, if you are facing like you have mental health issues, or you feel like things are not working right, and just speak out, speak to someone. Don't die in the Inferno of Silence.
Yes.
Because I think that's the issue that a lot of people face. Like, people are going through struggles, but they are not talking to anybody. You're in a dark place and you are there alone. So speak out. Speaking out, I would say, it's my first like recommendation as a non-technical. I'm not.
Like I said, he's not a mental health, doctor, or he's not qualified in that. Just to get the record straight. He's just a writer.
I'm only qualified to write.
He's only qualified to write and speak based on maybe experiences and opinions, or maybe research, but it's not his level, it's not his field of expertise in particular. So like I mentioned, just a disclaimer, this is not professional advice. Beware. Exactly.
I love that.
Yeah. So right, okay, thank you. So again, to touch on the subject of everybody Don Kolomental. It might seem a very obvious question, but how do you think you can identify when people are exhibiting symptoms of the so-called Kolomental, which not necessarily just losing your marbles, but instances where as mentioned in the book, can you like identify when you feel someone is acting like they don't Kolomental basically?
Yeah, so basically, okay, let's just talk about friendship and stuff. Yeah, so if I have a friend that is kind of like quite outgoing, outspoken and all of that, and we talk a lot, we chat and do all of do everything, and suddenly that person just becomes a recluse, just starts keeping to himself. I'll be wondering like what's going on. That could be like a sign. So where you have someone who is always like bubbling, full of life, the life of the party. Let's talk about you, for instance. Always there organizing parties, pulling events, pulling events together, the life of the party on the field, they're playing football, just a man of many parts, So then we just say, oh, Manny is, is just nowhere to be found. He's no longer doing parties. He's just all by himself, doesn't talk to anybody, he doesn't give speeches anymore, he doesn't, just then I'll be like worried, like what's going on? I remember there was a living to, I was like, oh, is Manny not going, is Manny not here, he's not going to talk, but eventually you spoke and I was okay, yeah, Manny's around. It would have been like quite surprising for you not to, the Manny that I knew, like Manny would have to give a speech, and so those are some of the signs, like someone who you are used to, their character and all of that, then they suddenly like change, or that you need to be like start watching, keep a watchful eye just for any signs, like hope they're okay, or some people will be going through stuff they don't want to tell anyone. So I think those are that's an example of what to look out for. Yeah, in simple terms.
Okay, right. Thank you. And also, actually, there was another poem in particular here that I wanted to touch on, because again, it seemed a bit provocative, but it's more. I would say it's more of an enlightenment. Yes, this is it. Therapist in need of therapy. So basically, yeah, that's on page 27, by the way, guys, for your information. So basically, I'm just going to summarize it before I read it. It's basically saying that, this therapist in this instance now, that's supposed to be the therapist, is actually the one that seems a lot more flawed, and, that is actually in need of therapy. So, again, it's quite, the name says it all. The therapist in need of therapy, because the therapist in this case even seems like they need more therapists than the person that is receiving the therapy. So I'm just going to read this now to shed a bit of light on it, so you guys can relate with me as well. So basically, here goes. Titled Therapist in Need of Therapy, again by Tolu Akinyemi, page 27 from the book Everybody Don Kolomental. My therapist is in need of therapy. Switch off your mic. The truth is raining fury. My therapist is an addict. Gambles and loses. Sells things. Auctioned his ancestral home for just 10 shillings. Sold the small fridge. His wedding gift. This was the straw that ended his dream wedding. His wife left in the dark. Says she's scared she might be up for sale in the next general market. My therapist is unstable, like Manchester's weather. Someday he will rain truth before he spirals out of control. So for those that are not in the UK and are not familiar with Manchester weather, it's basically very, very unpredictable. You could have 3 seasons in one, and it's very renowned for it's always raining. Even in a beautiful heat wave like this in the summer, before you know it, you look left, you look right, it's raining already. That's Manchester for you. But not to deviate much away from the actual, the therapist in need of therapy. So again, like I mentioned, it's quite thought-provoking. So in this instance, isn't this therapist supposed to be the one that's providing, the therapy for someone that might be, struggling with whatever they're struggling with, or having, issues, or, a breakdown or whatnot? It seems this therapist is actually like, is not a very good one, or I don't know what's the message of this, therapist being in need of therapy, because, that's a bit scary, because I'm thinking right now, if I have issues, I'm supposed to be seeing a therapist, but if this therapist is even in need of more therapy than I do, then is all hope not lost? Like, so what's the message? I've not still been able to quite wrap my head around this particular piece. So if you could, I don't know, shed more light on this, please.
Yeah, so the point came from a place of like imperfection. So just like a doctor who is also sick and needs treatment as well. Yeah, so so the fact that someone is a therapist or does not mean they have all the answers, does not mean they are perfect, does not mean that they also do not make mistakes. So the poem came from a place whereby even as therapists are out there, so not like I was writing about any particular therapist.
Just, by the way, no, it's not a reference to an individual or a group or a company or anyone in particular. It's just purely fictional.
Yeah,
it's fictitious rather.
Yeah, so So, but basically, just to talk about the imperfect human nature, and to say the fact that someone is the alpha or wears that tag of alpha of all knowledge does not mean like they have all the answers. So you can hear that's why you see probably someone who is preaching who is saying, oh, do this, but they are doing another, they are preaching a message, but they are doing the opposite of what they are preaching.
Yes.
So a therapist may be saying, oh yeah, this is what the routine should follow, speak affirmative words, and you may get to the house and they are swearing, you know. You get
the irony, yes.
Yeah, the irony, yeah. So at the end of the day, you could get, no one has all the answers, you know. That's all the poem is just all about. The fact that someone is a therapist means they could also need help.
Yes.
Anyone can struggle. So
yes.
I think that's the underlying message.
Yeah.
So a doctor the fact that someone is a doctor doesn't mean they can't get sick or they
yes.
might not need admission in the hospital. So I think that's the crux of that poem, to say the therapist could be the one that, you know, someone who is gambling. We have a lot of people, let's say, they are on gambling sites, gambling away everything they have, and there could be therapists, you know.
Yes.
People that are offering help to people who are struggling as well, you know, gambling with everything they have, losing money, losing funds, and they keep losing and losing. So
to the extent his wife even left because she was scared she'll be up for sale, you know, next.
so I think, yeah. So basically, the point is just saying like imperfection. Yeah, quite a lot. It's alright to be imperfect, because even those that you think they have all the answers,
yes.
they also could be imperfect, you know. Yes. They could be the one that really do need help, not just the patient that's come to say, I have this struggle.
Yes.
Yeah, so
I agree.
That's what the poem actually touched upon.
Okay, that's perfect. So my next question to you, Tolu, is with regards to the whole COVID-19, the global pandemic, the whole isolation. Do you think with regards to the whole isolation phase, individuals that were maybe very outgoing and extroverted like myself, which you use as an example, would have struggled, you know, with regards to obviously having to just stay at home from always being out and about or busy or engaged with, you know, one thing or another or an event here and there, you know. Do you think, you know, the isolation is what was like an inspiration for you to highlight this topic of, you know, the mental health struggles and, you know, is that, would you say that the isolation, basically the pandemic, was a partial inspiration? Obviously, it's not the sole reason for this book. Would you say that the pandemic was an inspiration that brought about this everybody Don Kolomental piece?
Yeah, so before I go into that, you know, you talked about you being the life of the party, and well, we know that the pandemic could not even hold it down. we still had Joe Boy on the deck, you know.
Oh yes.
And you know, you were able to put off a couple of, you know, Zoom events, online events, now, you know, top events with leading A-list artists, and yeah. So kudos to you for that, yeah. So I would say that in terms of everybody Don Kolomental, it was written not just with the pandemic in mind. Yeah, the pandemic, you know, we were all dealt a fatal blow.
Oh yes.
Swept to isolation, and you know, we were just moving in and out of lockdowns, and everything was just like scary. At a point in time, you know, putting on the TV was crazy, you know, seeing all, you know, dead bodies piled into freezers, into vans, and you know, mass burials. That was emotionally draining and quite sad. Yeah,
definitely.
So, but I've always had a thing for like mental health issues, and you know, as someone who feels like there's this general, I view life from the fact that imperfection is just there. No matter who you are, what you do, I believe that nobody has it all together, you know. So nobody has it all together. You know, there are times that things can get really tough, things can get really hard, and yeah, so it's just a book where people can read and, you know, find strength, find hope, recognize that it's alright for things to be dark, but in all of it, yeah. So I wrote it with the pandemic in mind, yeah, but also that even without the pandemic, mental health issues is something that we should keep talking about. We should keep, should keep the fire. We should keep these conversations going. Keep talking about it. Anyone, I was saying on TV today, they saying someone got their result and they committed suicide because it was a bad result or what. So we need to, this conversation must be happening to say, a bad result does not determine your life.
Yes, definitely.
Hope is not far away. The fact that a lot of people are doing great stuff. So I've not been to school.
Yeah, a lot of the richest people in the world, like half of Forbes list, they even dropouts or didn't even go to.
So education is great. Yeah, I'm a great supporter of education, but but we should not let people feel like, because you're uneducated, you are less,
you're not as smart.
So I think these conversations we must keep talking about.
Definitely,
we must keep talking about these mental health issues. We must keep highlighting it, and I think everybody Don Kolomental is a lot of people that already came back and said, "Wow, great stuff," and that's what we like to see as as writers. We need to lend our voices to issues that are topical issues in society.
Yes.
And I think everybody Don Kolomental was written with that in mind. In or out of the lockdown, it will always be a relevant book for our generations to come.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. So now, to wrap up, Tolu, I've learned that recently you're also into you've been writing children's books and plays. How did you, or how and why did you decide to branch into the kids section, basically?
Yeah, so the latest children also in town. Let's celebrate that with a rap. Yeah, so
fantastic.
Yeah, so I think for children's literature, I have I have 2 young children, and there are times that the genesis. I've always had the dream to write children's literature because generally I've always been an inspirational person. My life has always been all about inspiration. Unravel Your Hidden Gems, inspiration. I use inspiration. I breathe inspiration.
It's always
I
can attest to that.
It's always been what I want to do, inspire people, inspire. But with 2 young children at home, there are issues around self-confidence, self-esteem. And these conversations are coming up. Being probably the only brown skin in class, we are talking about these issues now, about color of the skin, about self-confidence, about self-esteem, about believing in yourself, about speaking out. All of these conversations are coming up, and I feel as a writer as well, I'm able to because these children's pictures books, they are books on self-confidence, boosting self-confidence for young people, self-esteem for young people, and just addressed bullying in a way as well. So I think these are really topical issues that a lot of parents, a lot of people would find really topical, especially for their young ones. Not just about, this is not even about being black or being white, but any child out there, we need to instill that belief in them. They need to espouse self-confidence, and so it's just more of catching them young. I wear self-confidence like a second skin. Is telling young kids that you need to wear your self-confidence like a second skin, and I'm not a troublemaker. It's also about
regardless of the stigma.
A young boy who's changed school, and in the new school is getting that kind of stigma label as a troublemaker. But at the end, we found out that he's actually not a troublemaker. He only had difficulties adjusting to the new school. So these are just books that are to help young people to to become aware of themselves, to be able to gain confidence, to speak out when you're in class. Don't be timid. What if you want to ask a question? How do you go about it? So I believe the lion has arrived in the children's literature genre. And wherever the lion has arrived, when the lion arrives, you know what happened.
You know what
happened. It's to take over. So I'm in the children's lit genre, and the feedback has been really good. It's been early reviews, has been good. People are getting the flow, and that's quite encouraging, From so done short stories now, essays, poetry, and children's lit. Yeah, so it's quite interesting.
Fantastic, fantastic. That's a lot of additional feathers to the hat. Well done, Toludo. So, can I just ask, so what is next for Toludo? Because it seems you are conquering and taking over the whole literal world right now. So, what is next for Tolu Akinyemi?
Yeah, so well, I would say next on my radar, I have two new books. Well, I would say three books now because Born in Lockdown is a collection of poems that was born during the pandemic, and so that addressed issues around the pandemic, the lockdown, isolation, and so everything around COVID. That's a collection of coronavirus poems. So if you're not yet bored of hearing the word pandemic or hearing the word isolation and lockdown or hearing about coronavirus, you can check out the book.
Okay.
Available for early pre-order on Amazon or tolutoludo.com or the Roaring Lion Newcastle.com. Also in January, like a God in a human body. Tell them this body is not my own. So that's another poetry collection that will be out in January, and I have a collection of poems for young people as well, titled "You Need More Than Dreams." So that's a collection for young people, and I also have a few other sessions on cancel culture and racism and love and just general life human experiences. So that will be out on the same day with a God in a human body. So that would take me to the region of around 15 books.
Oh wow,
And
fantastic,
yeah,
fantastic, guys. Round of applause.
Booktiful,
Round of applause, And all this in just what, 5 years now? Is it up to?
It's barely 4 years now.
Yeah, actually,
barely 4 years. Yeah. So
wow, so that's about four and a half. Each year, if we're being mathematical about it. So you've been quite busy. So wow, how do you manage to balance all this with with running a family, running your corporate job, and still conquering and taking over and delving into new fields even within the literal world, like the kids books, and basically how you managing to churn out all these books.
Yeah, so I would say it's just let me say, nobody paved the way for me. Yeah, so yeah, God paved this way, and with great support of great friends like yourself, Ayodeji Omogunsoye, just having that great network of people around has been really good. When we talk about this story to Akinyemi story in the years to come, these are the kind of references that will make that there was indeed like a great support network that supported in terms of getting the book out there, supporting the art, because there's no writer without like an audience here. So right from the start, the Lions Don't Roar, I had a ready audience who were willing to like embrace my work, who were willing to support me, which is a testament to having the good community behind you as an author. So that really helped me in terms of the start, in terms of juggling all these commitments. I think it's the writing aspect has just been like a gift. It's been a gift from God. Yeah. So nobody paved the way, but God was just at the center of everything.
Oh, yes.
In terms of the wisdom to write, to know what to write. The ability, the talent, and everything. Yeah. So I would say God has been like at the center. Then in terms of the family, my daughter was asking me the other day, like, "Oh, Daddy, why do you like working all the time?" I was like, "Did you say overtime?" She said, all the time.
All the time, not over.
Yeah, she said, "You're just always like working all the time." So, but it's not easy like managing all these contrasting fronts, but we try our best to like manage the family. I think in terms of writing, at times it could be odd. Everybody Don Kolomental, I wrote it mainly at the dead of the night.
Wow.
So I wrote it mainly at the dead of the night. So at times when men slept, I was, I was working overtime. So I knew, I think the last poem where the 10th chapter where I talked about which was the 10th chapter, I wrote something like that. Yeah. So when men slept, I was like working. So and for some of my other books as well, the inspiration when it comes like
Yes.
it comes, it uses like like an ocean, like a stream, it flows endlessly. Yeah. So I think when that inspiration comes, yeah. So but in terms of managing of everything, I have a family that really supports what I do. My wife, she's always there. I disturb her a lot. She read English in uni, so I'm always like, oh please, oh this thing, this word, what do you think? What's the meaning of this? Does this make sense? She'll be like, okay, read it to me. You know I don't like reading, but read it to me. Okay, I was okay. I'll read it to you. Okay, does it make sense? Okay. When I wrote the children's book, she read everything. She said, okay, it made sense. So just having that person who is always there to like support the art, support the talent. My kids, they believe Daddy is the best poet alive. Not even nobody, not even the Charles Bukowski that I always talk about. Bukowski, like now, when my wife says anything, I said, are you talking to Bukowski like that? You mean you are talking to Bukowski? Bukowski. So, but basically, I have a very supportive family, like. Just always looking after me, looking after my welfare, ensuring that the poet is never hungry.
Oh yes, oh yes.
Ensuring that
she does a great job.
So I also do my own part in terms of giving time for the kids, for
family time,
and everything else as well. It's quite challenging, but because our work is everything is maniac, but when the inspiration comes. It comes and it works well, and so I don't really spend like ages writing. I'm not like the kind of writers I will say, oh, you have to write like every day. No, you don't have to write every day. You don't have to force it. It's not something like, don't let anybody give you put you in the box to say, oh, you need to write every day. It doesn't really have to be every day. When the inspiration comes to write, when you get to that stage, then it's not about like you have to write 100 words per day. Or this is how to defeat writer's block. No, I'm not. I don't belong to the school of thought that says 100 days a day, 1,000 words a day. No, just do your own thing at your own time. Whatever works for you, follow that. And I think that's really been the thing that's worked for me the most. Having a supportive family and being in a headspace where I can harness my talent and having a supportive network of fans. I'm beginning to have like a standard following now. People that that are looking into my books, into my mind. So people say Tolu is an angry poet. He writes his best poetry when he's angry. So people say, oh, poetry should not be if I'm an angry poet, I'll take that. I don't mind. I'm a very happy person, jovial person.
Definitely.
But if you call me an angry poet, if it's the ones that looks like they are angry poems that that people like the most, I'll take it.
Yeah. I think what people call angry, I will call a bit challenging or thought provocative, I mentioned.
Yeah.
But each to each their own. Everyone has their own opinion. So So good. By the way, there was a reference that Tolu made to a particular poem called the 10th chapter. That's page 42 on this book. So, like I said, get your copy from the Royal Lion of Newcastle.com, Tolutoludo.com, or Akinyemi.com, or from Amazon and all the other multiple platforms. So, Tolu, one last. It's a question basically. What advice can you give to any young individuals, or not even just any young individuals, anyone really that's always aspired to write or to be like a literal type of, if they want to take that route, career in life, what advice can you give to any aspiring writers, poets, or authors?
Yeah, I think my main advice, and this is something I say all the time: if Tolu Akinyemi can do it, then you can. You can do it
Yes,
better.
you can.
if I can do this, then there's nothing special about me. Like, like, yeah. So if I can go on this journey and make a success of it, then you also can do it in your own way and become successful. Go for your dreams. Do not postpone. Do not delay. Do not procrastinate.
Just do it.
Just do it. If you are looking, the internet is a large resource where you can, how to get started. Google is your friend, so just don't delay. Don't wait to like tomorrow for you to start, and look for inspiration around you. Look at people who have done things. Read. Then ensure you read as well. Don't be part of the people that do not read books. So, like, for you to be a writer, you must learn to be a reader. A lot of writers say, but they don't want to be influenced, so they don't read. I think that's a really bad culture. So for you to want to write, you must get into the habit of reading other people's work. That is the only way to get better as well.
Okay.
So you must oil your mind. You must feed your mind with literature, with quality books.
Oh yes.
Yeah. So I think if you want to become something, then you must, to toe that path, you must begin to see those who have walked this path before you. What have they done? What have they written? And so it begins to like help you see, have a wider view,
Yes.
of different styles, different approaches to literature, different styles of writing, and so I think that would be my advice. So go for your dreams, but you can do it. You can do it better. But always also cultivate the habit of reading, as this would enhance your mind, to become better, to own the space and own your craft as well.
Fantastic. I think there's only one point with what you just mentioned that I don't agree with. That you said, oh, there's nothing special if I can do it. That's you. Tolu can do it. That anyone can do it. I mean, I know certain things that you do that are quite special, and I'm not trying to put anyone down, but I don't think everyone can do it. So, I think that's the only point I don't agree with. But yeah, basically every other thing I agree with. Read more, go for your dreams. Basically everything he said. So, but yeah, thank you Tolu, for that.
I also don't agree with you, but
well, I'm going to be here all day, so let's just leave it at that for now.
So
fantastic.
Yeah, so thank you for letting us have this conversation again. I'm sure
anytime
in years to come, these conversations will be viewed by people around the world, and they would see us, the way we've unpacked these literary stuffs. And so thank you for your own contribution to the literary community as well.
Oh yes, it's just the tip of the iceberg.
Well.
We're going to talk about more. Oh, you are doing even better. Well, yes, thank you very much, Toludo. It's been a pleasure having you. It's been, as always, an interesting and a delightful conversation. Never a dull moment. And I look forward to talking about the upcoming books and the upcoming pieces of work that you have in store for us. And I know you will not fail to deliver, and there's always going to be bang on for the money. So once again, thank you very much. I do appreciate Can we get a big raw to sign out, guys, and to hail the author as well. So on the count of 3, 2, 1, raw. Fantastic guys. Thank you very much.